Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all the Toastmasters members and guests. My name is Taha Hassan and I will be the Sergeant in Arms for today's meeting. Today, I welcome you all to the 923rd Karachi Toastmasters Club meeting. Before we start, I would like to mention two things. Some ground rules that we need to be aware of in the meeting and the aim of what we are doing here. So the ground rules are: kindly mute yourself if you are not speaking. Secondly, kindly turn off your video if you are stepping away from the meeting. The aim and the objective of this meeting and all the Toastmasters Club is, and everybody in their life has a mission to achieve. Their goals, likewise, our Toastmaster Club also has a mission. The mission of our club is to provide mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication skills as well as leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth to all of us. With this, I hand over the charge to our President of the Karachi Toastmasters Club, DTM Tala bin Ham. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sergeant at Arms, for opening the meeting wonderfully. I welcome each and every one of you to today's meeting. Just to add to the protocols of what Sergeant at Arms said, we would very much love it if you don't have a problem and open up your videos during the meeting. You're just expected to stay mute, not invisible. So it will foster a sense of togetherness, and it will, in fact, that will be the whole point of the meeting. So it is my honor and pleasure to open this meeting, the 923rd meeting of the Karachi Toastmasters Club. It's a club with a long and proud history, as you can guess from the number of the serial number of the meeting. There are so many people who have given this club their blood, toil, sweat, and tears, and we are all beneficiaries of the labors of those people. Trust me when I say this, that Karachi Toastmasters Club has a very unique culture amongst Toastmasters clubs. And that culture is instilled in us by our founder, Dr. Salim, as well as our senior Toastmasters. And that culture is exercised and followed by even all the new members. And that's a miracle of the good intentions of the founders of this club and those of those who took this club forward ever since it first came into being in 2000. I wish I could say I was not born then, but I was by that time quite an adult. So no. So with that, for those who are attending the Toastmasters meeting for the first time, what is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is a worldwide non-profit organization that is headquartered in Colorado, USA. It runs clubs around the world in almost every country in the world. There are more than 17,000 clubs around the world. And in Pakistan, there are more than 40 clubs as of now. The clubs are run through a unified protocol. So the Toastmasters program is well defined. It is defined through various protocols and documents issued by Toastmasters. That is why the structure of meeting of Toastmasters around the world is broadly similar. Even our education session is governed by a common curriculum, which is called Pathways. As you will see, people will deliver prepared speeches based on pathways. The primary purpose of Toastmasters is to improve communication and leadership skills amongst its members. But as we journey along Toastmasters, we find out that it enriches us all in so many ways. Before moving on and handing over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, Uh, I will ask some of our guests to introduce themselves. So I see Mr. Okay, I see guest Toastmaster Rishikesh. If I pronounce you correctly, forgive me if I didn't. So over
Yes,
to you, sir. Please introduce yourself.
yes, Mr. President DTM Talla. I am Toastmaster Rishikesh. I joined Toastmasters in the month of June. I am part of Pimpri Toastmasters Club in Pune, India, and I got your club's links in one of the WhatsApp group chat, and I am happy to attend your meeting for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are honored to have you, and we are looking forward to combine meeting with your club on August 21st, if I'm correct. So great to have you, and thank you for joining us.
Yes,
We have
yes, sir.
we have Mr. Irfan Ghaffar. Would you like to introduce yourself? Uh, Mr. Irfan, we can't hear you, I'm afraid. Maybe you need to change the source of your.
Yeah, now is it audible?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is my first time to attend any Toastmaster online session. So actually, I'm very networking guy, but from last 1-2 year, I'm busy in my job, very tough job. So now I'm just planning to increase my network area and joining a lot of sessions, online sessions and physical sessions for networking and for learning new things and meeting new people where I can grow my ability and capability. So it's my task for next 2021 and 2022. So actually, I'm very planned guy for planning each and every step of my life. So I'm sure I will learn from a lot from you. And this is my intro, just simple intro. I'm Karachi
Thank you
based.
so much. Yeah, please finish your introduction.
I'm Karachi based and travel few countries. So I'm stay, but my I love to live in Pakistan. On there, just enough, no?
Okay, that's wonderful. And the beauty of Toastmasters is that we learn as much from each new member as a new member learns from us. So most welcome and pleasure to have you. We have Mr. Hamza Rahman. Mr. Hamza, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Hamza Rahman and I'm currently studying at Karachi Chemist School and I'm doing my A levels from there. And I'm trying to work on the communication skills. That's why I've joined Toastmasters as a guest today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much and welcome. And we hope to see you as one of our members very soon. We have guest Savintha, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Sanvita, and okay, so I actually joined this Toastmaster because I know one of the person like Toastmaster here, so he introduced me to this club, and I'm just being a guest to see the different events over here and how it will be carried on.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, we are honored that you chose to join us. Thank you so much. And lastly, sorry, not lastly, we have guest Razia Anam. Guest Razia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello everyone, this is Razia and I just joined recently, attended the last meeting and today is the second interaction with the team. So
okay, most welcome once again, guest Razia. And if I'm correct, you will be taking up membership very soon.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So once again, have a nice time today. And lastly, we have not quite a guest. She's our member, but perhaps many of you haven't met her. So I would request Toastmaster Raksha Kumari to please introduce herself briefly. She's one of our newer members. So over to you, Toastmaster Raksha.
Hello, good evening, members. I am Raksha Kumari. This is my first meeting after my membership, and I am here to give my first icebreaker speech today.
So
Thank you.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful, and that's an example worth following. That it is Raksha's first meeting, and she's giving her icebreaker in her very first meeting. Certainly, I wouldn't have thought that possible for myself. It took me 7 months to give my icebreaker. So with that, I will, before handing over to our Toastmaster of the day, I will request our VP Education if he has some business proceedings to report. Over to you, Toastmaster Imran.
Thank you so much, President Toastmaster Talha. Apologies for not opening my video. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, our last meeting number 922, was quite exciting meeting. We had one keynote speech by our immediate past president, Toastmaster Arusa. The best speaker was won by Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. Best critics was won by our guest speaker, DTM Raghunath. And best evaluator is very seasoned Toastmaster Syed Najam Rizvi. There were two. One of the member delivered the reflection, completed his pathway, reflected on his pathway, and it was quite inspiring and honest, quite inspiring speech. And our president DTM Talha just completed his level 3 of, mashallah, maybe the 7th or 8th pathways. Wish him best of luck in future endeavors. That's all about the last year's session. Over to you, Toastmaster Talha.
Thank you so much, VP Education Imran. And I'd like to make a little correction that Toastmaster Rusa Kawal is not merely our immediate past president. At the risk of not witnessing her in any of the future meetings, I'd like to make a correction and tell everyone that she happens to be our division director as well. So yeah, immediate past area director and current division director, division B. So with that, I would now hand over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day. Okay. So actually, Toastmaster of the day will be joining a little bit later, but we will kick things off with the. Okay, let me introduce this person purely using the words that he hates. So we have a very seasoned senior Toastmaster who is very experienced and above all, but okay, fine. By now, all of you know that I'm talking about DTM Samir, and he'll be gracing us with an education session today. So there have been scores of Toastmasters that have witnessed his evaluations. And I will never forget the day when he evaluated myself and DTM Zed in the same meeting, and he asked both of us to repeat the product. So yeah, that is one of my most vivid memories. But DTM Samir, as we all know, he is the first ever district director of Pakistan. He's one of the cornerstones of this club and God knows how many other clubs. His contribution to Karachi Toastmasters Club is no less than that of its founder. In fact, that is my humble opinion, DTM Samir. And he's one of our stalwarts. But above all, DTM Samir is someone who doesn't like his credentials being recited because he believes that you have to prove yourself over and over again. And if I'm found repeatedly parroting this philosophy that you are only as good as your latest speech, you can chalk that up to DTM Samir as well, because he taught us that no matter what you've done in the past, you have to keep delivering at that level. Only then you can justify your credentials. So DTM Samir is known for his evaluations, and before he, as we all know, that Karachi Toastmasters Club had a spin-off last year, Kolachi. So DTM Samir chose to direct more of his energies towards that club, but he visits Karachi Toastmasters Club as well. And even today, there's no shortage of people who ask specifically to be evaluated by him. So not only his speaking powers, but the power of his analysis and evaluation are second to none, I would say. And I can only think of one other person who is as astute and observant. That is perhaps Toastmaster Nizam. Again, my personal opinion, and from among the people that I have encountered. So with those two disclaimers out of the way, please put your hands together for DTM Samir, who will be delivering a keynote or an education session on Evaluate to Motivate. And the duration of for the timer to note is 15 minutes. So DTM Samir, over to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Tala. Am I audible? Yes? All right, fantastic.
Yes.
And also the timing will be 8 to 10 minutes of the actual speech and 5 minutes further for any question and answers. Now, may I please request the Zoom master to allow me to share my screen?
Just a second. You can share your screen, DTM. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Okay, there we go. All right. Can you see my screen now properly? Yes? All right, fantastic. Yes. Okay, fellow Toastmasters, we always hear that breakfast is the evaluation is the breakfast of champions, and it's absolutely and totally correct. For the very simple reason that, sorry, it's not moving now. This is the fun thing about technology. Okay, so now it's moving a little too much. All right. Okay, there you have it. Technology for you. All right. Yes, and indeed, that is absolutely correct in Toastmasters. And the reason being that Toastmasters is one of the few places where people give you honest feedback. Because in real life, nobody's going to tell you that, Jay, you're looking down, you're avoiding, your hands are tied, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. But here you're supposed to, and it's part of the culture. Now, why evaluation? Why speech evaluation? The aim is, of course, to help the speaker know what strengths he or she has and what areas need improvement. And it has to be effective, meaning that you have to specifically give the speaker that what are the points he or she needs to work on. And the most important, it has to motivate the speaker. Because if you're evaluating and the speaker feels bad about what you've said, something is terribly wrong. And finally, you have to evaluate the speech, not the person. Sometimes you may not like the person, you may not like the speech. Like many years ago, there was a gentleman, Toastmaster, he was quite conservative with his own ideas. He gave a speech on how women should just be wives and mothers and sisters. And, you know, basically he wasn't very good, feeling good about them going out and working. I didn't agree with his viewpoint, but I was his evaluator, but I just evaluated his speech on the merits. I didn't tell him that, well, I think you're wrong because of this, that, because that was not my mandate. It's not the mandate of the evaluator to go very much on the contents or on the opinion of the speaker. Before a speech, you need to review the manual. What are the main objectives? For example, if the objectives are that, gosh, you have to maybe look for the voice modulation or perhaps body language or something else, focus on that. I also suggest that you read the complete speech project and the evaluation guide, because especially in pathways, the evaluation guide is quite generic. And I like to be quite specific, so I always try to read the manual, and all of you should do. Also, if possible, ask the speaker for tips. That is, he looking for something in particular? And if possible, review past evaluations, which was possible in the manual system. Now it's not that much possible, but still, if it's possible, try to get that from that person. During the speech, what do you have to do? You have to note the key thoughts, listen attentively. The first thing is that is the meeting the manual objectives? For example, if it's body language and the guy is speaking brilliantly, but he's not using body language, then maybe he's not meeting the exact objectives. But you also have to look at what the organization and the delivery. Again, if the speech is on body language, but it's a very disorganized, disjointed speech, so then he's not, you have to work on that. And you also have to explain to the speaker that the organization of the speech should be there. Again, try not to cover too much. Why? Because then you have 3 minutes to give your feedback. And if you try to cover too much, just take 3 or 4 main points and work on that. Don't give feedback without suggestion. Again, it's something like you are just saying that, oh, you don't have a good body language. What does that mean? It means absolutely nothing. You have to give that, okay, you are folding your arms. Maybe you should let your arms go. So that is something important. Try not to give your opinion on the subject of the speech. You may agree or disagree, but it's the guy is giving his topic, let him go through it. Try not to use words like never and always, because who is to know what is never and always? It's your personal opinion. Don't speak for the audience. Well, the audience was not that happy. How do you know? Speak for yourself. Try not to use judgmental language, and I'll show you some examples. And most of all, never embarrass the speaker in any way whatsoever. That's the deadliest thing to do and the best way to lose a member. Okay, what you have to do, sandwich the comments between positive feedback, motivational comments. For example, imagine that somebody needs to work on the body language or perhaps some speech aspect. You say something positive. When you came in, your beginning was absolutely powerful. I loved it. Then you go on to the second point on where the person has to improve. And at the end, again, say something positive. Because if you have positive feedback, positive, it's like a sugar coated pill, and people will take that medicine much more easily. Once again, be specific. Be specific that whatever, like if a person has a certain lapse or a certain issue that they need to work on, be very specific on that. Don't try to just give generally that, oh, your speech, your voice was not that great. What do you mean by that? Or your body language was not that fantastic. What do you mean by that? It means absolutely nothing. Again, of course, use a friendly, encouraging style. Absolutely. Personalize your language. It's a personal opinion. Again, I'll show you some examples. And remember the golden rule, meaning that would you like to be spoken in that way? And if not, then you shouldn't speak to that person in that way either. After you complete it, you give your written evaluation. After your verbal, return the manual or the sheets nowadays to the speaker. And if necessary, give private feedback. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes a speaker might have a habit that you might be embarrassing by mentioning it openly. Like I remember there was a speaker, he used to have this very awkward habit of putting his hands in his pant pocket and moving them around in a very strange way. That was, I would say, almost sexual. And of course it wasn't, it was just a very nervous habit. But when that I never mentioned it to him, but I took him to the side and I said, you should take your hands out of your pocket. The next time, just do one thing. Don't put your hands in your pocket. And he got it, and he got over that habit. And ask the speaker for feedback. And again, this is something you have to know the speaker very well. And I'll try to explain in a minute. about this last subject, last point. How do you personalize your language? My reaction was, it appeared to me, I felt that, I feel that it should not be definitive. Like you should have, you failed to, your opening was. You can't really tell, because that means you didn't. It was not, it's my opinion. Maybe it's a wrong opinion, but it's my opinion. Make that clear. Again, I suggest, I think your next speech will have a stronger impact if a technique that I found useful is this. Try not to say things like you should, you must, good speakers do it. What does that mean? Like, I'll give you an example. There was one speaker I knew, he had a very nervous, I would say, a very dynamic personality. So what he used to do is that when he used to stand, he never used to stand in one place, he used to bounce around. And he always said, I feel that this is what I should be doing. And okay, that's fine. That is his style. I shouldn't be that judgmental about it. I can give some feedback, but that's about it. Sample phrases. You are very nervous and you were stumbling. I think that really makes a person feel a little bad. You can say something like, I see that you're less nervous. When you gave your earlier talk, and I know that you're going to do even better. Your gestures are non-existent. What does that mean? The guy is gripping the lectern. So you say, I discovered that when I let go of the lectern, I could go, my words flew much more smoothly. So again, that is there. And speakers, remember, the evaluator is giving the time and effort to help you. Do not interrupt during the evaluation. And if later on, if you want to have a friendly chat, but don't go crazy. Like I knew this one speaker, and that gentleman was very aggressive. And I once actually saw there was an evaluation, and he actually chased the evaluator, and that just telling him, "No, I didn't do this. No, I didn't do this. Why did he say this?" And you could see the guy was absolutely, "Oh my God, what am I here for?" Yeah, and the end result was nobody wanted to evaluate the gentleman because he was so aggressive, and he never improved because whoever evaluated himself said, "Oh, you're wonderful, loved it, perfect," and he wasn't perfect. So keep it in your heart. You may disagree with somebody. I've had evaluations I've disagreed with, but I always, take it in my stride. And I said, okay, the guy's trying to help me, so I appreciate that. Finally, and the most important role, you must help the person up, not tear down. If you're tearing somebody down, don't evaluate. So you always have to make the person feel motivated, feel happy. And once you do that, you're a perfect evaluator. Over to you, or rather over to the question and answer session.
Thank you so
if there
much.
Any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much, DTM Samir. As always, thoroughly enjoyable and educational session. Anyone who has a question, please raise your hand, or you can write it in the chat box as well. Anyone with a question?
Either the speech was perfect or it was totally incomprehensible. One or the other. I'm not really sure.
Well, I suspect it was more.
Okay.
Okay. I do have a question. And
sorry. Toastmaster Vajahat raised his hand. Just a second.
No problem. No problem, Mr. Tala. You can proceed, sir. After that, I will proceed. No problem.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Toastmaster. Please go ahead.
Approximately, that was a very wonderful speech you have given, and it really enlightened us a lot. For 6 months, I joined this Toastmaster club, and I delivered approximately 15 to 18 speeches. But on every speeches, I had to write a note in front of me because all the speeches were online. I was not physically present in front of the people. So I just write the note in front of me, the keynotes, like suppose I want to deliver the speech on attitude. So attitude is the best thing. Then I rememorize the things and then try to deliver something. So how can how can we give the speech? I do understand that this is not a very relevant question, But as far as the speech is concerned, how to deliver the speech, because some people are master on that. So how can we deliver the speech without the keynotes? Like keynotes means just memorize the keynotes, not right in front of us. So this is the question I was thinking, because this is the bad practice I am keep doing for more than 6 months, and it is really, I am not feeling any much improvement in me in spite of joining this club for 6 months.
Well, I think there are two things. Number one, practice. If you give a speech and if you repeat it 4 or 5 times in a row before that, you can the items, the subject, you can memorize it more or less. Not quite memorize, but you get perfect almost. And the second thing I found is that usually if I have to give a 5-minute speech or a 7-minute speech, I write 10 minutes of material. And so even if I forget something, it's still there. And another thing you may do is that have a story built around it. Because remember, if there's a story like, Jack and the Beanstalk, say for an example, the thing is that, okay, Jack, poor family, went to the market, got the magic beans, put the beans. So try to have it in a story form if at all possible. If you possible, try to do a storytelling manual, and you'll find that you'll flow a lot better, because if you tell stories, the whole flow gets a lot easier. So these are the two things: practice, practice, and practice, and try to have a story format if at all possible. Sorry, DTM Tala? Sorry.
Yeah, Toastmaster Shamam has her hand raised. Toastmaster Shamam,
Please
go ahead with your question.
Yes, thank you, DTM Tala. DTM Sameer, I can understand, being the skin whenever evaluating someone's project, like not telling, oh, I know that, instead giving them a chance to improve. But do you think that we most of the time give so much of positivity, like the person maybe is not able to read between the lines or understand the actual point because we too much sugar coated? Do you suggest a way of not being sugar coated? But I feel sometimes I get too blunt because I feel that the person should know. And I also feel that I will not go after the training because I'll be forgetting about the training once the training is over, especially if it is KTC's meeting. You would just run to the kitchen, have dinner, and forget about everything. So how to maintain that balance? Because I personally feel too sugar-coated is not a good thing to for a person who is learning to speak.
I think that it's a balance. I would still suggest that sugarcoating is the best thing. That say something nice and positive, tell them where they have to improve in a nice way, and then say something else positive. Always begin your evaluation, or try to, by saying something nice, then give the feedback, and in the end say something nice. And I think that the ways that you can bring your point across without being that very blunt, because I have seen members actually leave the club after a very harsh evaluation, and that's not what we want to do. So I think a little bit of extra sugar might be better than a little bit of extra bitter medicine. All right, sorry. And I think it's the red light, but if the president allows, I can take one more question. Sorry.
Yeah, I think our Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Hassan, has this question. So, and Mr. Timer, please note that this won't constitute a risk because I am actually adding the question. So, Toastmaster Hassan, also, please go ahead.
TM Mariam also wants to ask something. So one after another, please.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. I want to ask that when we're evaluating online, it's really hard to evaluate when the speaker is facing disconnectivity. So when we're evaluating them, so after the speech, how can we judge it that the speaker have done good in this or good in that, or that particular point where he was disconnected? Maybe it's a game-changing speech, and because of the disconnection, the evaluator cannot see that. So any tricks on that in those disconnections, we predict that maybe the speaker is taking us to that part, and then we evaluate it. So any suggestion on that in your experience?
Just use your judgment. And remember one thing, we are just there to help that person. We are not there to judge them. We just kind of, if you catch any point, you can use that. And if indeed you miss the whole speech, you can even be honest and say, well, I couldn't get part of the speech, but the part that I heard, it had this, and this, and just go with that. This is something technology that's beyond us. And I'm basically a Luddite when it comes to technology, computer technology. So I understand. So now I would request Miss Mariam. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So I just wanted to ask you then, when you evaluate as in a speaker, I'm just talking about as a speaker, or are you always, whether it is a table topic session or maybe a speaking session, I always look forward to my evaluation. I don't want that to be sugarcoating, but yeah, harsh is bad. But I'm here to learn. If I will not be aware of my mistakes. What I'm doing, if I'm making some mistakes, is because I'm not aware of it, and it's unintentional. So there's nothing intentional. But if I'm not be aware of that, because it's online, we are not standing on a stage. A stage is different. It's completely different. You make blunders of mistakes, but if you're doing it online also, so how can one person should be evaluated in that way? It should not be it's not about sugarcoating or being harsh. Being harsh is an extreme level, one extreme level, and the being sugarcoated is other extreme level. But we are here to learn. I look forward to my evaluation, but I know there's some time constraints and there are different patterns. And the other person who is evaluating, that also depends on who is evaluating, on what grounds he's evaluating. If he's good at it, then you are lucky enough. But if you're not, then you are here to learn. How can one should be evaluated, and also what a speaker should do after the evaluation. Should he depend on this evaluation, or how he can improve or she can improve further?
Well, again, that's quite personal, because look, if you really want even more focused evaluation, you can contact your evaluator after the meeting and say that, look, I would like you to tell me a little more about this or that or the other. If you have any points that you want them to really focus on, you can tell them in advance. That, in the last meeting, people were mentioning that my body language needs work. So you can say that, can you please specifically look at that? There are ways around it, but honestly, being nicer is much better in the long run, because you're not going to improve, and nobody's going to improve like in 1 day or 2 days. It takes time, and gently does it. If you really want to, you can tell your evaluator that, please, be more frank than you usually are. That's another way. But always, I think that the evaluator always needs to give feedback. If he's just saying sweet things, or then I don't think that evaluator is being that honest with him or herself and to the speaker. So, as I said, if you want to have specific evaluation, you can even message your evaluator in advance that these are the things, and I would like you to tell me about these either during the meeting or after the meeting.
Okay. How you can practice those things? What is the best way to do that?
Again, keep on coming, because look, when I first came here, I had this habit of actually, holding my arms, because I used to be so nervous. But then I was told that, look, you're doing that, and I said I didn't realize it. But after 2 or 3 meetings, I began to let go of my arms. So when you get feedback, you come, and the next speech, you try to take that feedback. And remember, it's a personal feedback. If you disagree with it, then you can say, all right, I'm very happy that that person gave me the feedback, but I feel more comfortable doing this way, and that too is fine. Remember, it's a volunteer thing, and you're not kind of coming here to prove anything. You're just coming here to prove to yourself that, okay, I'm going to get better and better. You're competing against yourself and nobody else.
Thank you so much, DTM. Yeah,
sorry.
Actually, we've run out of time. I'm sure there are plenty of other questions. So, DTM Samir, if you can just put your email ID in the chat box, and if somebody else has any other question, they can send the question to you. With that, I thank you, and thank you for the session, and thank the audience for their questions. I believe it was a supreme learning experience for all of us. And with that, I will now hand over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, who is, surprise, surprise, Toastmaster Naveen Karan. Great to see you back. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster DTM Talha. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So I am Toastmaster Naveen Karan, and instant Toastmaster of the day, or you can say a rescue Toastmaster, as like what doctors always do. I would like to start with the theme of the day, that is repurpose your life. For me, there is something very important about like repurposing my life. I applied for medical exam in 2005 and I failed, and I started again preparing and I applied again. And the second time I was selected in a medical school. And it's a very important part that I just remember after reading this phrase, repurpose your life. So don't let your past define you. Let it prepare you for the new path you're about to walk. I would welcome you all in this Toastmaster meeting. We have three sessions here. The first one is prepared speeches, and in which there's a time slot of 5 to 7 minutes, or it depends, 10 to 15 minutes about each speech, and it would be evaluated. The second one is the table topic session, which would be like instant speaking session, in which the topic is given to you and you have to speak for a minimum of 1 minute to 3 minutes. And the third session would be of general evaluation, in which evaluation would be given by the evaluators about these speeches, right? So I would like to introduce the facilitators, which are here to help us to monitor our meeting about grammarian, timer, and tabletop technical host, listener, and our counter. First, I would like to introduce our grammarian, Toastmaster Shamam Khan. Please welcome Toastmaster Shaman. I would like you to introduce your role.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Navinda. And am I audible? Am I audible?
You are.
Okay.
Yes, you are, Toastmaster Shaman. Yeah.
Thank you, DTM Tala. So in grammarian role, which is also known as language evaluator, and while listening to DTM Samir's evaluate to motivate, I was thinking, oh, grammarian's role is can't be sugar coated somehow, because the purpose is to encourage, to adapt the good use of language. So pardon me if I highlight the bad use of grammar, which I would keep minimized, but I would then recommend improvement also if any required. And when prompted by the Toastmasters of the day, I will give the grammarian's report. So over to you, TM Navinda.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shamam. The second, I would like to invite our timer, Toastmaster Imran Rana. Please, Toastmaster Imran Rana, describe your role.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Navinda. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm the timer today. My role is to make sure that the meeting proceedings are on time. All you need to pin the timer screen, and on the timer screen, you can see the timers written. You can see the watch and timers written on the screen. So there will be different timings for different segments. For prepared speeches, there will be 5 to 7 minutes. What I will do, at 5 minutes, I'll change the background to green. This means the speaker is qualified. At 6 minutes, the background will turn into yellow. And at 7 minutes, the background will turn into red. This means the speaker has now 30 seconds left to wrap up his or her speech. After that, after 30 seconds, he will be disqualified. For table topics, the speaker has to deliver a speech from 1 minute to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. At 1 minute, my background will turn into green. This means the speaker is qualified for voting. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, my background will turn into yellow. At 2 minutes, now that red signal shows that now the speaker has to wrap up his speech, because after 30 seconds, he will be disqualified and there will be no signals for disqualification. And for evaluation, at 2 minutes, the screen will turn into green. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the screen will turn into yellow. At 3 minutes, this means 30 seconds left. Now you have to wrap up your evaluation, otherwise you will be disqualified. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imran Rana. Next, I would like to call our counter, and that is Toastmaster Sayyid Bajahat Haq. Please welcome Toastmaster Sayyid Bajahat, and can you please explain your role?
Thank you very much. Today I am performing as a counter, and today I'm going to evaluate all speeches, all the discussions and communication, and try to extract like this kind of voices which can distract. So today I'm going to compile all the things, and at the end of the meeting I'm going to give the results. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bajahat. The next facilitator here is the vote counter. I would like Toastmaster Ali Hussain Babar to please explain his role. Please welcome Toastmaster Babar Ali Hussain. I cannot see him here. I guess he's not here. So
okay, I can take the role. I can take the vote counter role.
Okay, sure. Please welcome Toastmaster Imran Rana for vote counters facilitating explanation.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Beside timers, I'll be counting votes. There will be you are requested to cast your vote for 4 times. That is for prepared speeches, table topic speeches, prepared speech evaluation, best speech evaluation, and finally the best pick 4. All the Zoom link will, the Google form will be shared with you. All you need to cast your vote. If there is a tie-breaking situation, I will cast my vote and break the tie. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imran Rana. Next facilitator is Word Master, and I would like to welcome Toastmaster Urusa Kawal. Please, Toastmaster Urusa, can you please explain your role?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. The word of the day is adapt, which means to make something suitable for new use or purpose, and to auto-modify or become adjusted to new conditions. The usage would be hospitals have had to adapt for modern medical practice, or a large organization can be slow to adapt to change. I will be looking out for this word in your speeches and in your impromptu topics, and I will be noting down this usage. In the end, I will be presenting my report. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Urusa. Next comes the most interesting thing. I would like to welcome our next facilitator, that is Joke Master. Please welcome Toastmaster Hiba Rais Khan. Toastmaster Hiba, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Please.
Sorry. Yes.
Joke of the day.
Hello, Toastmasters, and yes, I have a fear of speed bumps. But I'm slowly getting over it. Sorry. And what do you call witches who live together? What do you call witches who live together? Broommaids. How do billboards talk to each other? How do billboards talk to each other with sign languages? And this last one, why don't blind people skydive? Why don't blind people skydive? Because it scares the crap out of their dogs. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hiba. Next, I would like to welcome our next facilitator, that is listener, Toastmaster Azhar Khan. Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster. Please explain your role.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmaster and guests, good evening. All good speakers are one who carefully listens to others. I'm sure that you will all good speakers. I will have to check in the end you are how your listeners you are. As a listener, my duty is to note down some good points, good words, good interesting phrases In the end of the meeting, I will ask to everyone to guess who word or phrase and who said it. Requested to remain silent. And this is my role. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Azhar. Now we would like to take a namaz break, or we have to start with prepared speeches. Please, DTM Tala.
I think let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we can reconvene.
Sure, thanks. Toastmaster DTM Talha, I guess we should resume the meeting.
Well, as Toastmaster of the day, you're fully authorized to take that decision.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. So let's start with prepared speeches. First prepared speech is by DTM Talha, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Latif Mansoor. I welcome you, Toastmaster Latif Mansoor. Please explain your role as an evaluator and introduce the speaker. Please, welcome.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Navinta Karan. Today, my target speaker, DTM Talha bin Hamid, will be delivering his level 4, and his project will be leading your team. Purpose statement of his project will be for the member to lead a small team to the completion of a project. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspects of his or her experience leading a team. Speech title is Leading Your Team Exhibit 122. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. DTM Talha bin Hamid, speech title, Leading Your Team Exhibit 122. Over to you, good luck.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, over the past 2 years or so, it has been a difficult time for the world, and we all know why. In fact, the fact that we are witnessing each other through this internet connection is one of the greatest indications of how the world has changed. And over this time, we faced a lot of challenges, both within Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters. And in this doom and gloom and depressing environment, any smidgen of positivity is welcome. And it's very hard to find beauty in such adversity. But being Toastmasters, we are accustomed to that. The project that I'm going to talk about today was not my idea. In fact, the seed for that idea was planted last year in about on May 25th, if I'm not wrong. May 25th, 2020, during the last session of our district conference. That session was called Poetry Panel or Literary Session. And that session, if I am not wrong, was conducted by our very own Toastmaster Ulsa Kawal. Witnessing that session, and that was the last session of our district conference, everybody was engrossed. They were totally lost. That was one time when we forgot all our troubles. We forgot about the nightmarish election one day before. We forgot about the troubles that we were going through in order to achieve a distinguished position in the world. We forgot about the drive for renewals. We forgot about how our jobs, our livelihoods were at risk thanks to that beast known as COVID-19. All we saw and witnessed was beauty, poetry, music, literature. And that gave me an idea. Since July 2021 was the start of my term as, July 2020 was the start of my term as Program Quality Director. I decided right there and then that this need not be a single session in our district conference. This needs to be a permanent platform. And thus, Exhibit 122 was born. Some of you may be aware of it, that Exhibit 122 is an event that our district holds that honors and celebrates the artists, poets, photographers, painters amongst us. It does happen within the premises of Toastmasters, but it is unlike any other Toastmasters event. When we announced the first event, I realized that technology has eased the process of arranging such an event so much. All I needed to do was to create a poster, create a Google form, and then book a meeting on Zoom. 1, 2, 3. All that could be done by a single person, and it was done by a single person. So why would you need a team for that? That's the curse of being a leader. You have to work with a team, whether you like it or not. But I was fortunate enough to have a great team in program quality during last year, and I drew on that team. During the first session, I enlisted Toastmaster Azam Ali as my co-host. And during the second session, I had our very own VP Education Toastmaster Imran Rana as co-host and a lot of other things. I thought that the event could be well managed if I just had a list of registrants. I started the meeting on time and everybody stuck to their timelines. But I discovered later that there was so much more to it. And that's the one lesson I learned from leading this small project. You can continuously improve a project by involving other people, even if you don't want to. The output of a few dedicated people is far superior than the output of one individual. And while I was thinking that this small event could be arranged single-handedly by myself, and it could be, but it wouldn't have been so memorable. The event called Exhibit 122 was a rousing success. The first round happened during 2020. The second round happened during 2021. We had participants from all over the country. Most of them are Toastmasters, but all of them are either writers, poets, or intellectuals that usually don't get the opportunity to express their talent in a conventional Toastmaster setting. And we had two memorable events filled with music, laughter, art, culture, and we lost ourselves. The artists that turned up range from poets to writers, philosophers, to painters, to photographers. And what's the best part? This event was emulated by other districts as well, under different names, of course. But I'd like to think that that small seed that was planted by the arrangers of our district conference, the previous district conference, that grew into Exhibit, is now going to grow into a full-fledged movement, because very soon we will announce something very big to take this forward. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, sometimes the best ideas are the ones that you just get on the fly. The best ideas are the ones that are not planned. And the best events are the ones that have their own flow and beauty. They are defined and characterized by your boldness, by your willingness to step outside the boundaries, and last but not the least, willing to reach out to people to help you along. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, DTM Talha. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Raksha Kumari, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Taha Hassan. Please welcome Toastmaster Taha Hassan. I would like to introduce your role as an evaluator and introduce Toastmaster Raksha Kumari as well. Please welcome Toastmaster Taha Hassan.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Today I am evaluating Toastmaster Raksha Kumari, and she'll be delivering her icebreaker speech. It's the first time she's speaking, and the purpose statement for her is: the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce him or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speaking. And with that, one more thing, apologies for this. Her title of the speech is Me and Myself. Me and Myself, Toastmaster Raksha Kumari. The virtual stage is all yours.
So, as you all know, I am here to present my first ever speech. Hello, Toastmasters. Good evening, members. Hope you all are doing well. As you all know, this is my first ever speech of Toastmaster and eventually first ever speech of my life too, because I have public fear. So introducing so this is Raksha Kumari. I am standing here to present my icebreaker, starting with my introduction, patience, hobbies, fears, and little bit more about myself. As you know, as you asked about my on the camera, but this because of my nervousness, I can't on the camera. So I am basically from interior sin. I completed my more than half of my schooling in interior sin. After 8th grade, me with my family moved to Karachi. As you all, or maybe many of you are aware, there is little less concept of education in interior sin. So because of my education, we moved to Karachi. Interesting part of my life is I am the only child of my parents. So I am the leader of my family too, and there is no restriction, no boundaries in my family for me. Whatever I ask in my family, they do for me till now. Then I'm talking about my saddest but most fortunate part of my life too. I'm an adopted child of my parents. Maybe it's personal, but I am opening to you because of I want to minimize my public fear. I started growing to my when I started growing to my learning phase of my life, I got humiliated by many people, even though family members too. This was my turning point of my life. This raised me to be a better version of me. Then the only child, because of being only child in my family, I have shown interest in studies, and you know I am from interior and so that my family is not educated. As many people are aware of this, that there is not much concept of education in interiors. And once I started crying in front of my parents and said I don't want to live here in cruel environment. And fortunately, we moved to international city. This is Karachi, because I wanted to change my life by doing something and continued my studies. These all things were not easy because nothing can we achieve without struggling in life. I did continue my studies with lots of problems coming through my education. The first problem was me with my mother. We live here in Karachi alone only for the sake of my studies. My father lives in interior sin because of his business. So I am telling about the happiest day of my life, that because of this, by the grace of God, I am happily engaged with most loving men of my world. This is the life, you know. Some people did wrong with me. Here I am living the very best of my life now. Now talking about my fears, talking about my fears, one of the biggest fear of my life is public speaking. I speak now, but my whole body is shivering now. So I want to minimize my this public fear and want to talk freely without fear and without shivering. This is the core reason that I have come to this platform to get rid of this public fear and be the most confident girl. This is the only reason that I have joined the Toastmaster. Now, talking about my hobbies and little more interesting thing of my life is that I have many hobbies and many passion, but my hobbies are interesting and enjoyable. Like I am a good tech talker too, and I love to make videos, dance, and I uh, love to capture every moment of life. And even though I'm trying to start my page to show my talents and my hobbies over animals. Then I'm talking about my passion. The biggest passion of my life is to be woman photographer of the Pakistan, and I have worked on it. Women photographer of Pakistan, that's not simple photographer. I want to become nature and wildlife photographer, and I have started my work or two. And maybe soon I will pursue my this passion in abroad to continue and do for something by my passion. This is my biggest passion, and I will I will go to any limit to complete my this passion for sure. Thank you. So here I started my new journey in Toastmaster. Hopefully at the end of this journey, I will become fearless and confident girl. I'm nothing more. So winding up with, I want to change my life, even which I have never imagined to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rakshak, and I congratulate you for breaking the ice. Next, I would like to invite Toastmaster Babar Islam and his evaluator, Toastmaster Barais Khan. Please welcome Toastmaster Barais Khan. I would like to introduce the speaker and a little about your evaluator part. Please welcome Toastmaster Hiba.
Can you wait a second, please? Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, I had something to sort. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, TM Babar Ali Hasnan is doing his engaging humor, managing a difficult audience is the title of his speech, and the duration is 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and the objective for the there's only one. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when he or she presents outside of the Toastmasters Club. Over to you, TM Ali Hasnan Babar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hiba. Just give me a quick moment to make the little arrangement. Okay. So, am I loud and clear? Back to pathways after more than 6 months, I believe. Feels like an icebreaker. Thank you so much. Do you know how old is the origin of music? Do you know how old is the origin of music?
More than 1400 years.
Okay, that's
14th century, I mean.
Yeah. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. And let me share with you the history and enigma of music. As per the recorded history, the origin of music stems from the era before the history started being recorded, and as per the customs, as per the symbols that we find in the history, the origin of music basically started from rhythms and sounds that occur naturally in the nature. And if you notice the kind of music that is very close to nature, sounds in the nature, it is still prevalent in most of the cultures. Now, ever wondered what wonders the music can create, how it is impacting the lives around the world? Well, recently a study was conducted at a university level, and in that they exposed the plants to two different kinds of music. One was the rock music, the other one was the classical music. Guess what happened? The plants exposed to the classical music actually grew faster and stronger, whereas the ones that were exposed to the rock music, the hard kind of music, they actually deteriorated and died within 2 to 3 weeks. The same thing is being applied to the therapies to human beings around the world. The interesting thing is that music is another form of therapy these days. They have divided the music therapy into two forms basically. One is active, the other one is passive. In the past active one, what the doctors, the therapists do is they expose the patients to the composition of music, and they are encouraged to make music, to present music, and this way they release their stress and tension. This is generally for the patients who have lung problems or maybe who have the physical disabilities. And the passive one is a specially designed kind of music that helps the patients to reduce their anxiety, stress levels, and increase their happy hormones. One interesting fact is in a research, when the people were exposed to the jazz music, and they actually felt that the theta waves were produced in the front part of the brain, and the theta waves are the ones that help in problem solving and cognitive functions. This way, they enhance the intelligence of the people who listen to the music. And another interesting thing was when the patients were exposed to good music, their feel-good hormones, oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, all the hormone levels went up, and the cortisol level, the stress hormone level went down. And when the scientists further research in this field, they realize that it's not just the music that is impacting the lives positively. Even the singing of the music, especially in the form of groups, helps to release the tensions, and it is also used as a therapy around the world. So what they do is they combine the people in the form of a group.
I mean, there is a good music and there is a bad music also happening. So there is a certain kind of bad music for people also.
Very
I mean,
interesting
they die,
fact.
right? People
Very
die.
interesting fact rephrased by PM Arusa. Yeah.
Yeah. What would
This
you
is
say
how
about
music
that?
works. Yeah, like this is how music works. There's a good kind
So
of
you're
music
saying
and a
you're
bad kind of music.
singing?
And singing as well. Yes, that was interesting, PM Arusa. And another study at University of Pavia, Italy, was conducted to see how it makes an impact on the cardiovascular system. Interestingly, when a person is exposed to a good music, as discussed by PM Arusa, it triggers physiological changes in the cardiovascular system. It regulates the blood pressure, the heart rate, and the respiratory functions. It helps to bring them all into synchronization and improve the stress level ultimately. And interestingly, rich classical music phrases that last for more than 10 words actually bring the music and the words in a synchronization of your cardiovascular system. And another link I found very, very interesting between the music and the psychology. So if I want to gauge your psychology, level of psychology, the type of psychology you have, instead of asking the psychological questions, what I can do is I can ask you questions regarding music. I can ask you what kind of music you are into. So rather than asking any psychological question, just with the taste of music you are into, I can see what kind of person you are. So let's say
excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from these two categories, I find rapping also one of them. It has its own rhythm, but for me, that is neither in the good nor in the bad. It's more of a frustration for me. So I don't think that does it fall in that category as well.
So
In
like
the stress level one?
yes, as you stated, it frustrates you. This kind of music is a negative kind of music. My suggestion is, as per my research, stay away from this kind of music. Go for jazz, go for classical.
What is the definition of a bad music and a good music? That because I'm asking you because if a person has interest in pop music or in a rap music rather than a classical one, as you have been debating over, so what does this represent as if the person is more interested into that kind of a music rather than a classical one? And also the definition of a good and a bad music.
Okay, very interesting question. So we need to differentiate if a music is a good one or a bad one. It's different from you like it or you don't like it. Maybe I like the pop music, but it doesn't mean it is good for my mental stress. So we need to differentiate between the two. My likeness could be different from good or bad. My likeness does not necessarily mean it is good for my brain, for my stress levels. So I need to have only good music to release my stress.
Okay, so you mean the classical music can help you with the stress rather than the other musicals? Because there are only seven circles and every music goes with that 7 circles.
Yeah, so basically it has to be good kind of music. Even if you don't like it, it will ultimately impact your brain positively.
Well, I didn't know that. I knew you were Toastmaster Babar Ali Hassan, but in reality, you are Beethoven reincarnated, because you feel that you are authorized to decide what is good music and bad music and what is good for mental health. I don't know. Like, why would anyone listen to something that's not good for their mental health? I mean, it doesn't make sense. People listen to music to relax. So I think what you're saying right here is just a load of, I would say bull, but that's not politically correct. So I would say codswallop.
Okay, I skipped it in my introduction, but the fact is this research and experience spans over 15 years. Yes, you are right. I'm Toastmaster Babar Ali Hassan, banker by profession, but my real background is musician for the past 15 years. I skipped that in the introduction. I hope that helps you understand the nature of music and the music teacher. Moving on to the music and psychology. So if let's say T.A. Mansoor Ali is into rock music, this means maybe he's a fighter, he's an athlete, or maybe he has a short temper.
Do I look like a fighter or a short-tempered person to you?
If you have the same kind of taste of music,
right now.
Yeah, maybe at times or maybe not. So
I'm a big
depends.
Metallica fan.
It depends.
And yeah, so, but I know like nobody has seen me fighting or being aggressive in public. So how can you be so comfortable with that stereotype?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean one should be fighting with hands. One may be fighting with the words, the power of words, and you definitely have that. Appreciate your question and comments. So if the person has something like if person is into romantic songs, maybe he is a grounded, mellow personality, not much into fighting or short-tempered, a calm and stable personality.
Serial killers have also been known to be very much into classical music and romantic music.
Maybe that's the not so dominant side of their personality. They are into both kinds of music, and probably they are into both kinds of music. It's not possible that they're only into romantic music and then they end up being the murderer. That's
How
not
can
psychologically
music
possible.
help them? How can music help them?
Okay, very good question. So as the researches have been conducted, it helps to lower down the stress levels and relax. So maybe that is what they need. As a part of the entire treatment, they can also be given the kind of music like jazz or the classical music. It will definitely help them to minimize this kind of behavior. And as we all know, the power of music is very strong. The
Ali?
things that we yes, please.
Ali, did you say that in the beginning you missed to skip? And I did not see you until now doing skipping.
Okay, we will have another session for the skipping once we are done with the music. That will also help us elevate the happy hormones and bring down the stress hormones. That is a good idea, but after the speech. Okay, and we know that music is a strong medium to express our feelings that simple and plain words cannot do. We all agree with this. I remember it was for the love of my life. It was the music that played a role in expressing my feelings. And when I proposed my potential life partner, it was like, you are the apple to my pie. You are the stalk to my berry. You are the smoke to my high. You are the one I wanna marry. And in my very own words, I will conclude the speech. I will conclude the speech and entertain questions at the end. You are.
She say yes.
You are the kind of music you listen to. The room is open for questions.
How can she say yes to a cheated music? Or it was your own words?
Copied words in my own voice. Any other questions to entertain?
Yeah, what's written on your shirt?
You really want them?
I kind of like hiking and maybe music. Thank you so much. You guys have been very cooperative. Appreciate that. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baba and your friend. Next prepared speech is of everyone's favorite, the hard, like I found him the hard worker person in Toastmasters. He's just, whenever there's a competition, he just going across here and there and just asking everyone and practicing and rehearsing speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan and his evaluator, Toastmaster Shamal Sheriar. Toastmaster Shamal, please explain your role as an evaluator and introduce the speaker, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Please welcome Toastmaster Shamal Sheriar. Toastmaster Shamal Sheriar, are you there? Toastmaster Shamal, please unmute your.
He's there.
Yes.
Shamil Sheriar.
Shamil Sheriar. Okay, sorry. Toastmaster Shamil Sheriar, I welcome you here. Please introduce your role as an evaluator and introduce the speaker as well. Thank you.
Sorry, I was gone for a minute, so I don't know what was going on. Okay, wait a second. Please hold on. I'm sorry. TM. Okay, here you go. TM Asghar Ramzan will be giving his level 1 project 4 speech. His pathway is presentation mastery. The purpose of his speech is to research and presenting. The title of his speech is A Glimpse of Post-Qualification Era. Time duration is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, TM Asghar, and good luck.
Thank you. Am I visible and audible because my background is blurred? But
yes, you
are.
Sorry.
Yes, you are, Toastmasters. Yes, you are. But
But have you pinned the timer?
No, I didn't. Who is the timer?
Thank God
Toastmaster
you
Asghar,
didn't.
if you can
Because
remove the
you
blurred
put
background, it is
timer
good.
window.
I can't. I tried. I tried. I've been trying for 15 years.
Okay, no worries, but you should pin the timer window at least.
Who is the timer?
Imran, Toastmaster Imran.
Imran, yes, he's there. He's in front of me. He's there. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Currently, I am in a took a temporary shelter in a circuit house and doing my job. I'm sorry. Okay, here I am. Let me start. But I would like to start with a question to all of you for an answer. What is the one thing, one document demanded by your employer when you went there for a job for the first time? Of course, after CNIC and passport. Need an answer.
Picture.
References?
Resignation letter.
Contract.
Photo.
The certificates and degrees?
Yes, thank you. Certificates and degrees, because at least that is what they wanted from me. But it was not something strange. And I think all of you are agree that the first thing they demanded your qualification, especially when you are there for the first time. And it is not something strange, because Bureau of Employment, Government of Balochistan says that 100% employers, at least in public sector, demand it. Now 100% is a considerable percentage, isn't it? And you know why it is not strange? Because the reasons are not difficult to comprehend. We all know that employers attach great value to the degree because they see them as the most reliable and only indicator of your intellectual competency when you go for a job. Now, according to the survey, what is surprising is that the same employers who are handing out these jobs actually hurting themselves by limiting the pool of talent. Report noted that paradoxically, we also hear from the same employers and the business leaders lamenting the unfortunate gap between what the students are learning in colleges and what they are actually expected to deliver as a job skills. Now, who is responsible over here? Is it institute or the employers? Now, here is the chicken egg, the conundrum. Institute emphasize churning out degrees, and employers, as I mentioned, want those degrees to dole out the job. But the situation is not same everywhere. Because elsewhere in the world, the trend is changing. The tide is turning. Employers are now stepping out of their ways to pack the applicants. While qualification is still counted as the major demand by employers, but some of the glimpses of post qualifications are also gradually emerging on the horizon. Now, employers, according to the Manpower Group, a UK survey, are increasingly convinced that academic grades are indicative of how much a candidate has studied. But the performance of an intelligence test reflects the actual ability to learn, to reason, and think logically. Similarly, in the same group survey of 2,000 employers, over 50% of organizations listed problem solving, collaboration, customer service, and communication as the major valued skills for their organization. Likewise, a recent report by Josh Burden, a UK-based survey group, noted that employers today are largely select candidates for their adaptability, cultural fit, and growth potential. I mean, how many students can do the cloud computing, for example? Now, addition to that, according to the Harvard Business Review's recent article, employers like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft have highlighted the importance of learnability, not the specific degree. Now, what is learnability? It is perhaps being curious and having a hungry mind to innovate things as a key indicator of career potential. Now, in short, Harvard Business Review article believes that market demand clearly call for the paradigm shift and suggest that both institute and employer should take this transition as a prize to be seized rather than an obstacle to be negotiated. They should not be locked in a zero-sum game. But how? This research article recommended that companies can help this change by emphasizing less on higher grade and emphasize more on critical skills. At the same time, institution put more weight to develop the soft critical skills of their students. But, you know, how they should do it. This is the task in front of them in coming decades. Now, dear Toastmasters, in today, majority of the people often take leadership role without any formal management training, communication, or leadership training, especially when it comes to the formal sector where I belong. Few of them even refuse to take the leadership role. Still favor rush to the venues like beach luxury and virtual Rome to join club like Toastmasters after hours of work in their office to merely fill this unfortunate gap and make up for the lost time. Now, dear Toastmaster, put it very frankly, I'm not sure about you, but I am one of them. Over to you. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Actually, I was busy eating. I didn't realize that is over to me. So the prepared speech segment is finished here. Next, okay, I would like you all to give a standing ovation to our new Toastmaster Raksha Kumari for her icebreaker, because it's been a protocol, or we do it for everyone who does the icebreaker speech. This was a wonderful speech.
Yeah. Please open your mics too so she can hear the clapping. We used to do this when we had in-person meetings. So let's resume that tradition.
Thank you everyone for this appreciation.
Okay, next we will start with our next session, that is the most interesting and my sister's favorite session, the table topic masters.
Ask for the voting. Ask for timer's report.
Okay, sure. Acha. Okay, so our timer Toastmaster Imran Anna, I would like you to please tell that everybody has everybody was in time or has cleared the timer.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Yes, I'm proudly announced that all the speakers are qualified. Except the education session.
Sure. Thank you. And I would like everyone to please wait for the best prepared speaker, and I guess a link will open up in your messenger or on the screen. So you just have to click on the best prepared speaker. Next, we will start with table topics master. I would like to welcome Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. I welcome you here to please start your session.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Navinta. My project of table topic is also a project of my pathway. So can I invite Toastmaster Imran, please, if you can describe the objectives of my project?
Yes. Let give me a few minutes. Just a minute. Let's see. Just a minute. I found your evaluation sheet. Just a minute. Apologies for delay. Okay, so Toastmaster Latif will be doing a project called active listening. Purpose statement of this project is: the purpose of this project is for the member to demonstrate his or her ability to listen to what others say. Speech length, here it is mentioned, is 5 to 7, but it depends on the speakers, how many speakers he takes for this session. He requests for this session, and the speech title of his speech is Repurpose Your Life. So Toastmaster Latif, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imran. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, table topic sessions are normally a very energetic session, holds by as the second session of our Toastmaster meetings. Over here, the speaker and the guest are invited, and me as a table topic master or anyone who is performing the table topic master give a topic which the speaker has to speak from minimum 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes 30 seconds. More than 2 minutes 30 seconds, nobody will going to indicate you, but you won't be qualified for voting. Word of the day is adapt. And if it's all clear, I would like to invite my first speaker, Toastmaster. Okay, I can't see guest Sanvita. Is it there? Is she there? Okay, guest Razia Anam, if you can please come on. Can I invite Toastmaster Vajad, please? Toastmaster Vajad, your topic is, word of the day is adapt. Your topic is, your life has a purpose. You were born to make an impact. Your life has a purpose. You were born to make an impact. Over to you.
Thank you very much. As we all know that everybody who are living in Pakistan or any other part of the world, they all think in the same scenario that I have my life with me and I have got the purpose to live. But at the end of the day, we are ending up our lives in just paying the bills and earning money at the end, because this is the rotation of the life. Like in the early stage of our life, we always learn to learn like that. In order to make a stable career, we have to learn a lot of things. We have to put many information into our head We have to join good schools, and we have to get good grades, and we have to satisfy our elders that whatever they could not be able to achieve, maybe there's a possibility that we are going to achieve. So in our whole childhood, we spend in that way of thinking, and when we just comes at the younger stage in the Asian side, we are getting married and try to increase our family members and like children's, and we just got into the relationship. And as far as the other part of the vice versa part of Asia, like America and other part of the world like Europe, they also try to do something, but they are just put into they just get into the struggle to enhance their career opportunities. But we are also doing the same thing, but at the end of the day, we have been living the same life, like for as far as the Asia is concerned, for 5,000 years, and as far as other part of the world is concerned, 10,000 years, whatever the life we have we have been living. Every country, every continent has its own history. So we are living the same life. We are living in the same scenario. We are living same childhood, same middle-aged life, and at the end of the day, the old age life, we are living in the same scenario. So as far as the purpose is concerned, there are only 5% people who are thinking about that, and these are the achievers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wajahadi, and thank you for commenting on the importance of achieving. And yes, over here, this part of the life where we start from birth to the end, and our generations also follow the same thing, behind the bills, behind the expenses. And really, I love the way you describe from East and the West.
Thank you.
Next, may I invite guest Razia Anam, please. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So
just a second. I'll give you a different topic. Yes, Razia. The word of the day is adapt. And your topic is, if you are waiting until you feel talented enough to make it, you will never make it. I'll repeat. If you are waiting until you feel talented enough to make it, you'll never make it. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So I think if we are waiting for a long time, we cannot do and we cannot pursue the things in a quite good way. And life is all about creating the things in a way and adapting the things to win the situation or to make the life with the purpose to succeed in a way. So I think conventional lifestyle versus anything, if we are not enough capable or talented to adapt the things with the challenges we are having, I'm just saying, if we are in a 2021 and we are not adapting the new things within this digital era, and if we think like I think if we think like in this digital era and on our way, we are just in a particular thing that we are just talented and we are thinking like we will succeed and we are not making things happen or we are not make the actions accordingly, then we can just never win the race in a particular way. So this is the particular, I guess, thing that has to be maintained in a way that everyone can ensure and the life they can create with the talent, with the purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Razia. You really explained the importance of the purpose if you are in the race. I love the way you have given the importance of the need of the hour in this modern era. Thank you very much for your wonderful feedback session. And can I invite Toastmaster Hireshikesh, please?
Yes, table topic master Latif.
I'm sorry if I have pronounced your name.
No problem. Yes. No.
Thank you for understanding. Okay. As I would like to repeat, the word of the day is adapt. And your topic is, it's never too late to start something new. Something you have been longing to do. I'll repeat. It's never too late to start something new. Something you've been longing to do. Over to you.
Thank you, table topic master Latif. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. I remember a day after I graduated from my university. I joined Mumbai in a Capgemini organization. In Mumbai, there was a travel I was used to travel by local from my home to my office. And after boarding my train, I used to see one Toastmasters club in Mulund, Mumbai. I figure out what is Toastmasters club, what is the organization Toastmasters club. And I searched on website and understood that it is a Toastmasters club where we can improve our public speaking skill and leadership skills. Later, I got stuck in my job, and due to family responsibilities, I didn't had enough time to join Toastmasters club. Then in 2018, I moved back to Pune, and I got chance to interact with Toastmasters club community. And finally, in June 2021, I joined Toastmasters club in Pimpri, Pune. So it was a dream to join Toastmasters club way back in 2013. And finally, I joined Toastmasters club in 2021. So it's never late. You have to adapt to the new environment, and you can start anything which you want to do. Over to you, table topic master Latif. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate your discussion on the topic, your views on this topic. I agree with you, because your comments were all the importance of Toastmasters Internationals. And I really appreciate this one, because this will help more of our guests and the new Toastmasters. Thank you once again for your time. May I invite do we have Farhan Haider? Toastmaster Farhan Haider, if you can.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Great. Nice to see you.
I've just turned on the video and you just called my name. It's really surprising.
Yeah. Look, we have CID eyes.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me give you your topic. And I'm sure you will love it.
Okay.
Let me remind you, the word of the day is adapt. Your topic is, the longer I live, the more beautiful life becomes. The longer I live, the more beautiful life becomes. Over to you.
Yes, we always thought that we can do so many things in our life, but due to some restrictions and due to some responsibilities, we are not able to do these things. And but there are so many things, still a long way to go, and we can improve ourselves. We can join like the last speech I was listening. that the guy joined Toastmaster Club in 2013 and now is resuming in 2021. So it's never too late. This is the same case happened with me. I joined Toastmaster Club in, I think, 2014. Then I got stuck in my office routine and I was not able to get time. And then whenever I get time, I try to join this club because this is the best place from where we can improve ourselves and we can get rid of public speaking skills. So yes, there are basically dreams never dreams remain dreams whenever if we don't apply on them. So we have to work on them, we have to chase them on them, and after some time, after after consistency, we are able to chase them. So this is it. Over to you, TM Latif.
Thank you, Toastmaster Farhan. I really love the way you started your conversation. You were vigilant of what the other speakers were saying. And thank you for bringing that importance. Fellow guest, this is very, very important. Whatever we learn in Toastmasters, it does not remain for this Toastmasters meeting. We really bring those skills out in the real world at our professional levels, in our friends, in our day-to-day life. So thank you very much, Toastmaster Farhan, for highlighting this wonderful and encouraging the others. Thank you very much. Now, may I invite Toastmaster Azhar, please. Toastmaster Azhar, is it possible to do dual role, participate in table topic and great.
It's difficult, but I will try my best.
But it's not impossible, right?
Yes, I told you I'll try my best. Let's see. Okay. Today I'm listening to, I think I should listen, not speak, but you give me a chance and I'll speak. No problem.
Yes, yes. Okay, the word of the day is adapt. And you know what it is? Your topic is it important? Is it important for everything to have a purpose? I'll repeat. Is it important for everything to have a purpose? Over to you.
Yes, sir, who is timer? First, I've pinned the timer.
I am the timer.
Your boss, DTM Talha bin Hamid.
I'm no one's boss. I'm just the timer.
He's taunting me. I know that. He's taunting me. But I appreciate to DTM Talha.
You will forget the topic. Start.
Okay, sorry, sir. Listen, my topic is purpose of what? Please repeat my topic. What is really my topic? Forget it.
I'll repeat. Is it important for everything to have a purpose?
Is it important of everything? Yes.
Is it important for everything to have a purpose? Over to you.
Everything is important. Everything for have a purpose. If you want to do something, if you have to change your life, if you can get something, it's difficult things in your life. So I think you should focus and you should do over there. You do that things. Maybe sometimes you adapt new word, new culture, new techniques, new environment. You have to change, I think, little bit in your life because your purpose is very clear and very objective, and your goal, your objective is very refined. You know, so what are you doing and where are you? Where? What's your journey? What's your goal? So it means if we want to adapt something new in culture and good habits, first you can do this, and your purpose be very clear. So now I think so. It's important if you wanna get something, so you can do this. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Azhar, for bringing this importance of even small steps really matters to achieve bigger things in life. Thank you very much. May I invite Abeha?
Sorry, sir, I can't participate now. Actually, I'm observing all the Toastmasters. So, inshallah, I'll be in the next one.
Great. If you would like to share your feedback, I can give you this 1 to 2 minutes.
Actually, I am very bad in communicating. So, a friend of mine referred to it. So, I loved this startup, and I loved the way of people communicated in it. So, actually, I joined the late. So, I'll be in with the next one. So then I'll share my views.
Sure. Thank you very much. Stay with us because you will learn a lot more what our speakers will deliver. Stay with us.
Yeah, sure.
May I invite Toastmaster Mariam Aftab, please? Here you go. Toastmaster Mariam, okay, let me remind you, the word of the day is adapt. And your topic is finding your purpose in life will allow you to make an ending of your choice. I'll repeat. Finding your purpose in life will allow you to make an ending of your choice. Over to you.
Thank you so much. We all have a purpose. We are living in this world. We have a purpose to join Toastmaster event. We all have our goal. Well, yes, we should have a purpose in life also. If we are going straight and we don't know where we are heading towards, we'll be lost. A life without goal or purpose is meaningless. Finding a meaning in your life, first you have to decide yourself what you want to do, what you want to achieve. And once you have decided that, purpose leads you towards the end, gives you meaning, gives you proper directions. I'm sorry if I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yes. Gives you meaning, gives you direction and a purpose and a meaning to your life. If you don't have it, it's your fault. Go find it and work towards it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mariam, for highlighting us how much important it is to have a goal in life. Here, I would really like to thank each and everyone for participating and encouraging one another, because this is the platform where mistakes are less and learning is more. Let me ask the timer if all the speakers have been qualified for voting.
Well, unfortunately, none of the speakers have been disqualified.
So, vote counter, please, if you can raise the link for voting, and you all are requested to please check the chat box to give your vote. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you, the Team Latif, for your session. Thank you for the encouragement of all the speakers, and especially thank you for the excellent statements. But I agree only one statement, that it is never too old to learn, being, of course, a living example of this quotation. Now, moving forward, we are entering in our third and last session, which is called evaluation. Today, DTM Tala will be in charge as a general evaluator of the session. And I would like to invite DTM Tala to please come forward and take the virtual stage. Over to you, Tala.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar. And welcome everyone to the journal evaluation session. But I would rather, Toastmaster, before we move on, is it possible to float a Google form or something else for voting? Because Toastmaster Babar, it can get quite confusing for you when you receive vote. So maybe if everybody is voting for their favorite prepared or table topic speaker, first of all, please, I believe it will be good if the names of the candidates are put in the chat box for both prepared speeches and table topics. And secondly, everybody votes with the proper label. So for example, if you want to vote for best prepared speaker, you should write best prepared speaker and XYZ. So Toastmaster Ali Hassan Bauer, please do that. And then I think it will be easier for us to vote as well. So evaluation as a so well explained by DTM Samir in the beginning of this meeting. And we were fortunate to have him as an education session host. Evaluation is the bedrock of Toastmasters. It is what defines us, and it is what separates Toastmasters from all other disciplines. And the kind of evaluation that we get here and what you will shortly hear is something that you won't experience in real life. Because people are, in real life, people are either too polite to tell the truth, or they have already made up their mind that they don't like you. So they will try to bring you down. Unfortunately, in our society, we pendulum between these two extremes. And Toastmasters is nothing less than a social force that aims to change that. So I will start in the order that the meeting went through. So first of all, the Sergeant at Arms opened the meeting exceptionally well. I especially appreciate the flair that you bring to the meeting opening every time. So great job, Toastmaster Taha. Then, of course, there was a presidential address, which I won't comment on for reasons obvious enough. But the business session was well conducted by VP Education. And then there was a change in the Toastmaster of the Day role, but it was exceptionally well handled by the VP Education as well as the role player, Toastmaster Namita Karan. She took on the role seamlessly and effortlessly, and I believe delighted us all with her performance today, despite the fact that there are so many restrictions on her time. All the role players introduced their roles quite well as well. And that brings us to our first evaluation. The first prepared speech was by myself, and the evaluator is Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. So over to you, Toastmaster Latif.
Thank you, General Evaluator DTM Talha bin Hamid, and my target speaker, DTM Talha bin Hamid. I was a victim of COVID-19. And that was also that time when everybody was confused how long this duration will be, until when this will finish. And I remember DTM Talha saying once, it's 2021, why we call COVID-19? So yes, it has stretched a lot of time and money from our side because we did not get too much of salaries by then. Then comes an idea of DTM Talha having an exhibit 122. And I love the process. I was witnessing one of those events. In fact, both the events. First of all, I would like to say thank you for conducting such kind of events in Toastmasters, because everybody over here is to realize their own potential, and you made a brilliance out of it. DTM Talha, if I would like to share with the audience, the spoken language, the eye contact, the gestures, the audience awareness, it was a complete package with a takeaway message. So you did a lovely job having us engage every time with the content. But as I know, you are a very profound speaker. There are some areas which I personally felt it could have made it much more interesting to the audience. First of all, the blur background really made us, actually it does not affect the speaker, but the audience, because as you pull your head a little bit back, it just goes fade off and does not give that impact. Second was the camera. Actually, it was little up, almost the 25-30% of your open space were like your body was visible till your chest. Now, what I would like to love and work on was there were 2-3 instances where you said sorry. Few more times you said the categories a lot of time, that these were the categories repeated, like photographers, the artists, the musicians and everybody. I understand, yes, you wanted to show the project and the impact, but I missed the impact. Had it been ended with what was your feedback from the Toastmasters fraternity or how well they have given you, would have made an ice on the cake. Secondly, and which is very important, I would love you to see, nobody remembers the speech what you have, but everybody remembers the way you deliver. So the time when you were giving the dates, if you would have said, okay, season 1 and season 2 have sorted out. A lovely project. Keep encouraging us, and thank you very much for engaging the audience. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Latif. And I know it's not strictly proper, but I would like to appreciate your evaluation. It really, really gave me a lot of valuable points to work on. And yes, even while I was speaking, I was realizing that I'm repeating the categories again and again. And that was simply because I was not as well prepared as I should have been. So thank you for not pointing that out, but amazing, amazing feedback as always. Sincerely grateful. Our second evaluator of the day is Toastmaster Shamil Shahriar, and he will be evaluating Toastmaster Aug'21's speech. So over to you, Toastmaster Shamil.
Thank you. Am I audible? Okay. Before I start the evaluation, I like to make an announcement. It's that tomorrow is my birthday. That's it. EM Asghar, your speech was excellent. Wait, hold on a second. Your speech was excellent, especially your hand gestures. I saw how you were able to express your words for the audience to give an interest in your speech. You seem very adapted. You seem very adapted and comfort to your speech. The topic of your project was very interesting, even though the topic of your project was very interesting, and I would have agreed with you if I knew more about this matter. I'm going to be very honest. I'm not a very good critic. I can't seem to find any flaws in your project because you are a very experienced Toastmaster from my point of view. But if I can suggest any improvement, it would just be in vocal variety. I know I said you would seem very comfort. I did. But it seems you seem to forgetting your words just as I was before when I'm yes. And that's all I can improve. And also about your background, that's I can also point out that too. But you just said that you've been trying that for 15 years, so it might not be possible for you. Overall, it was a very good speech. Over to you, DTM Hamid.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Family Sharyar. And one thing that I will advise to you is never ever undersell yourself. We all know how talented you are. We all know your powers of observation. So there's no need to undersell yourself. We all just witnessed. It is by no means an easy task to evaluate Toastmaster as they are born. It is very, very intimidating. Personally, I do not envy anyone who's tasked with this task. So congratulations. Our third evaluator for today will be Toastmaster Taha Hassan, who will be evaluating our icebreaker, Toastmaster Rapchat. Toastmaster Taha, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. So today I was evaluating a person who was delivering his first speech, I guess I heard from her, of life, but it wasn't looking like that it was her first speech. Because one aspect that you need to have while speaking is the grip on the language. She had a beautiful grip on the language, and she flowed it off, taking us, involving us to her life, leading us to her story, which is the real important thing that us as a speaker want while delivering a speech. So this thing was really beautiful from our speaker, Raksha Kumari, in her icebreaker, me and myself. Opening yourself was one really great thing, which I guess that every speaker needs to do if they are facing a little bit of fear while speaking. Open yourself, tell everything what you have, because the next day the person will forget those things. So open yourself, be real, and these things were really clicking on our speaker, speaker Raksha Kumari. Things she excelled at was really good. Major thing she excelled at was getting the audience attention. I see in this view in which I can see everyone's screen, while she was speaking, everyone was all eyes to her, that what she's trying to say. And that is something beautiful that every speaker wants. This thing, and this is, I guess, it's a God gift to her, because it was her first speech. Good use of grammar and words. She has a really sweet voice, which is just, I guess, wow, and a good grip on the language. And one thing I also noticed is her camera wasn't on, but still I can hear her smiling all the time when she was making us travel through her life. And that is something beautiful. I know next time when she's going to be delivering her speech, you can see her smiling real. And taking step by step in her life, the sad days and the happy days, involving us in that. And that was really just splendid. Her speech was really heart-touching, and these all elements that every speaker wants in their speeches. Some quite a little things that becoming a good speaker, we need to work on. One of the most thing is the flow that we want in our speech. The more it is fluent, the better it is. So that was lacking a bit, because since you are hesitating, I guess in future speeches, you are going to improve on that. And wear the coat of confidence. And that is really a great element that every speaker needs to have. Swallow the fear of confidence. This will, I'm sure, help you a lot and help us a lot. I will end this by saying 5 words that I got from her speech. It was sweet, it was simple, it was satisfying, it was solid, and it was really special. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. And it is one of the rare occasions where I am speechless, because I found myself completely lost when Toastmaster Raksha Kumari was speaking, and I was completely absorbed Not for 1 second I felt that there was something missing when we could not see her. And in fact, I asked myself, what if I were blind? And her voice and her words were so expressive that, contrary to all the conventions of speaking, and the visibility was secondary. And you just encapsulated that feeling so perfectly. I believe you were the right person to evaluate that speech. So absolutely fantastic job, Toastmaster Taha. And of course, Toastmaster Raksha, your icebreaker was one of the most inspiring speeches I've ever heard. Video or no video, and you do not need to hide anymore. You can turn on your video because your words and your stories are the things that elevate you above so many others. So we'll have our last evaluator of the day, potentially the most fun session of the entire evening, and evaluated by potentially the most outspoken evaluator, Toastmaster Hiba Khan. And she'll be evaluating Toastmaster Ali Hassan Babar's project. Over to you, Toastmaster Hiba.
Such a warm introduction, DTM Kala. Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Is TM Ali there in the audience? So
Yes, here I am.
Okay, you are. Okay. You chose and spoke on a topic which is quite interesting and diverse to speak about. Music is something which lifts one mood and makes you feel better. Music sometimes transfers you to another fantasy world where you become lost in your own self. During the time you spoke, you had good clarity and confidence, and we could hear you properly. You had good eye contact during the time you spoke, and I found you constantly looking at the camera. You had good hand gestures which you used to express yourself during the speech. The audience were also quite aware about what you were speaking. And also the comfort level was quite good, and I could detect no signs of hesitation. The speech was constructed well with good relevant examples which you used to elaborate upon your speech. So the speech overall was quite interesting. And you had a good level of professionalism, and I could detect no signs of uneasiness or any sign of, that I'll deal with you later. So you were all professionals. So you dealt with the audience in a professional way. However, like every speech, there were some areas of improvement which I found out. The first one was you lacked vocal variety, which you should have incorporated in your speech. Also, since you were sitting, you should have incorporated, you should have stood, while delivering the speech, you should have, stood up and delivered so that we could also see some body gestures. And also, effective management. There was some, there was 1 or 2 areas which I found that you became quiet all of a sudden when someone interrupted. So if you could have, properly effective, you could have in this point of effective management, you could have, improved upon it a bit more, because they very cleverly, kept you quiet, or they interrupted you in a very right way. So in that aspect you could have improved. And lastly, again, like I said, you should have given the speech standing up rather than sitting down. Overall, it was a good speech, and best of luck for your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe, Mr. Timer, that all the evaluators have qualified, if I'm correct.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Okay, except Toastmaster Shamil Shahriyar, all the evaluators, no, except Shamil and Toastmaster Taha, rest of the evaluators are qualified. Timing of Toastmaster Shamil was 1 minute and 57 seconds, and Toastmaster Taha was 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Now it's your call.
Okay. So that is a tough call to make because both
No
are
pressure.
just just off by a few seconds. Logic would dictate that perhaps we can include Toastmaster Shamil because he was just off by 3 seconds. I'm sorry. Yeah.
My project evaluation.
Oh yes. Yeah. So Toastmaster Imran Rana, thank you for reminder, Toastmaster Latif. And okay, so Toastmaster Imran, over to you for Toastmaster Latif's project evaluation.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm sure I'm audible but not visible. Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali doing his project active listening, and he was quite professional, conducted quite professionally. He conducted the session quite professionally, and the topics were selected was quite interesting and challenging. So a good table topic session in this project, he has to conduct a well prepared and table topic session in which he has to listen the speakers carefully and respond the speakers took some points from their speeches and respond the speakers in his feedback. So Toastmaster Latif conduct this session successfully. I liked the way he responded all the speakers, the way he appreciated, the way he requested the speaker to please come and deliver this speech, and the way he announced the topic and the way he responded them. It was quite amazing and quite encouraging. And I sometimes there's one suggestion for Toastmaster Latif is that means if any speaker who is unable to speak on the topic, on that he should have responded him in a way that he should encourage him, that he should suggest him that that this was the topic and it was required that. But in table topics, it's quite challenging to speak. It means you have 1 to 2 minutes and to deliver the speech in those minutes, and you have to think on your feet as well. So you could have appreciated that way, that you requested them that this was the topic and it was required that. So you can insist, you can suggest those points as well. Overall, it was since the first impression is the last impression, you were so well prepared, you were looking so professional. So overall, it was quite the whole session was conducted quite well. So congratulations on completing this session. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Sorry. Thank you so much, and congratulations, you have also qualified. So continuing, I believe it is only fair that either both the disqualified candidates are not allowed or both are allowed. So I think I will go with the latter option and allow both Toastmaster Shamil and Toastmaster Taha as candidates for best evaluator. So yeah, but be careful next time about your timings, okay? So the poll for the best evaluator will be floated shortly. In the meantime, Sometimes when there are challenging situations, one has to adapt to them. And therefore, slightly changing the agenda since Toastmaster Usha has to leave, I will first ask her to deliver her report of Wordmaster. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Okay, so the word of the day was adapt, and in the prepared speech evaluation session, Toastmaster Asghar used it twice. In the table topic session, guest Razia used it thrice. Toastmaster Rishikesh used it once. Toastmaster Farhan Heather did not use it. Toastmaster Azhar used it twice. And in the evaluation session, Toastmaster Shamil used it once. That's all for the report. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for that report. And with that, we move to our grammarian for today, Toastmaster Shamam Khan. Toastmaster Shamam, the floor is yours.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you, General Evaluator DTM Talha. I would start with what I noticed as some good descriptions, like visual descriptions when DTM Samir used board down and folding hands. It actually described the condition of a speaker. And then there was this metaphoric churning out degrees. So these were few good descriptions that I noticed in today's speeches. Then I felt that at few places the speakers were verbose or too wordy, like very disorganized could be disorganized. Then whole body is the body. And then researchers had been conducted, could be researchers on something. So that's what some, and also I heard a word doctor's therapist. One of them could be grammatical mistakes because I feel that they should be pointed out. There were some missing gerunds with auxiliary verb. Are largely collect or collecting is similarly double past tense in a sentence like didn't had. These were some inconsistent verbs that I noticed, verb tenses. Then there was missing prepositions at places like my role is note down, my role is to note down. Then undue uses of conjunction and, too many and, that can be practiced and reduced. And then undue use of definite article, the, Pakistan, or something like that. But a technique that I found useful is keeping the statement concise and clear. When DTM Talha used full-fledged movement, it explained everything. He didn't have to go into details for it. So that was my report around grammarian. I hope people will adapt to whatever I was able to point out. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shamam, for, as always, a wonderful report. And not only that, you just made Wordmaster's Day as well. If only after the fact, since he stopped counting. Anyhow, next in the line of facilitators is our counter, Toastmaster Azhar Khan. Toastmaster Azhar, over to you.
It's Wajahat.
Sorry. I apologize. Toastmaster Wajahat, over to you.
Wajahat, please unmute.
Sorry. So, thank you. So there are many people who use these kind of filler words. If you want, I can give you the detailed summary on the chat. If you want, I can repeat over here. Some of the people I know the name. Let me do it within 1 minute. Maryam Aftab 4, Hamza Rahman 6, Irfan Ghaffar 7, Razia Anam 2, and then again 2. Raksha Kumari 3, Imran Rana respected 4. Samir Hamid Dodi 2. Maryam Aftab, I have already repeated 4. Naveenta Karan 5, Hiba Rais Khan 9, Ali Hussain 6, Farhan Haider 4, Latif Mansoor Ali Saab 2, TM Azhar 5, Shamil Shariar 2, and Talha bin Hamid Super 0. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to I'd like to know the names of people who have already voted for Best Facilitator, because congratulations. The facilitation session is still going on. So please, just because the poll is there doesn't mean that you don't give everyone a fair chance. So with that, we move on to our next facilitator, and that is our timer, Toastmaster Imran Rana. Toastmaster Imran.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Talha. Okay, so we started a little late, but we tried to keep ourselves on time. Education session was 10 to 15 minutes, but it took 23 minutes. Toastmaster Talha took 7 minutes and 14 seconds. The allotted time was 5 to 7 minutes. Prepared speeches. Raksha Kumari took 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Her time was 4 to 6 minutes. Babar Ali Hasnan took 13 minutes. His time duration for his speech was 12 to 15 minutes. Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan took 7 minutes and 10 seconds. And for table topics, Toastmaster Talha has given the report. For prepared speech evaluation, Toastmaster Latif 2 minutes and took 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The allotted time was 2 to 3 minutes for prepared speech evaluation. Toastmaster Shamil took 1 minute and 57 seconds. Toastmaster Taha took 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Toastmaster Hiba took 2 minutes and 54 seconds. So with that, I would like to hand back charge to General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. And once again, I will request, please don't vote for Best Facilitator, because there's one more left, and that is Toastmaster Azhar. Toastmaster Azhar, over to you for the listener vote.
Yes, I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
I'm little nervous. So should I off my camera or not?
No, no. I should on your camera.
It's not good, huh? It's not good. Okay. Today my role is listen. So one by one, I'm asked a dialogue. Maybe you will reply very well. Okay. First and foremost, I can remove the background. It's a 15 years old.
Asghar. Toastmaster Asghar.
It's a blur background is too awkward. It's weird.
Asghar.
Yeah.
Blur background like him.
That was my evaluator. Toastmaster
Latif. Okay. Hard type of music.
Babar. Ali Hasnan Babar.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Okay. I'm very nervous. Who spoke this?
Raksha Kumari.
Raksha Kumari.
It's not fair. No one called my name. I also could repeat this sentence. No one say my name. Everyone calls me Raksha Kumari. But suppose
Okay.
I don't mind.
Toastmaster Raksha and Toastmaster Azhar.
No. It's, I know that I'm this thing. I'm carrying 2 persons same, but you all of guys told it one name. Okay, it's no problem. I'm listener. I'm not a speaker. Okay. Intensity of my life part. Better version of me.
My wife.
Asghar?
No. Raksha.
Raksha.
Okay. I want to get something. If you have clear purpose, you adapt a new culture, new good habits.
Toastmaster Mariam.
No. If you get something.
Toastmaster
I repeat. If you want to get something, you have the clear purpose, you can adapt new culture, new good habit, New hobbies.
So Raksha, who's left? I think all is on.
I told. I spoke this sentence. Second time, no one gave my name.
No, Toastmaster Imran gave your name. I think.
Please, President, please note my request, and next time. Okay, are you getting what I'm saying? No one called my name. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, my second speaker. View your proper direction. If you don't know, it's your fault. You find it.
Now it's Mariam.
Mariam Aftab.
Mariam Aftab. That's great. VP Education. Wow, you have the very good here. Few
Your
times
name
you
is.
say. Sorry.
Carry on.
Okay. Few times you say music and artist. It's strange. Few times you told. Few times you say music and artist. He was evaluating to someone.
Yeah, Latif, Toastmaster Latif. How can I
Exactly. Birthday. Someone spoke this time to my birthday. Have you listened? No. Shamil spoke this. Tomorrow's birthday. He was discussing it when he started the evaluation of Mr. Azhar Saab. Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, Ali Hussain Babar engages who were managing difficult audience.
Hebare Khan.
Yes, exactly. You are right. Okay. I am from the interior scene.
Raksha Kumari.
Yeah. Okay. Synchronize your body system. Left of psychology. I ask you some logical questions.
Since nobody can recall, it must have been you.
Okay. Okay. He's very short tempered. And music. I can ask you some music logical question.
Ali Hassan Baba.
Yeah. Yes. You conduct very professional. Your prepared presentation. That's why every speaker reply very well.
Ye Latif Mansoor.
No.
No, Toastmaster Imran.
Yes. No. Today I heard some 2 and 3 words. Just a time is showing in the red signal. Just 2 minutes. Okay. Who called this name? Paradoxicality. Paradoxicality. Sorry, I can't pronounce it right. Paradoxicality.
Asghar.
Yes. This is my all words and phrases. Thank you, Toastmaster Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster sir. And everyone, now you can vote for the best facilitator because now it's completely legal. Okay. And I was about to forget something that would have haunted me for the rest of my life, but thankfully someone reminded me. So we have our table topics evaluator, Toastmaster Anam. And just give me a second. Toastmaster Anna, over to you for table topics evaluation.
Thank you so much. Talent is a cage. Sorry, fear is a cage and talent is a caged bird. Break the cage. Let the fear, let the caged bird, the talent, soar up high and fly up high. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today we witnessed some of the very exciting table topics. together with a constellation of feedbacks and ideas. Some of them, in fact, many of them, worthy to adapt. The best part of today's table topic session was that mostly the topics that were given to the people, they were actually living that topic. They had an example from their own life to quote that gave us an inspiration and a will and a motivation to come forward and repurpose our lives accordingly. Starting over with TM Wajahat. We saw you full of ideas. We saw how you spoke so confidently about the stressful life every culture has to go through in order to cope up with the demands and with the ambitions of their ancestors and what their ancestors couldn't achieve, but yet that stress fell on your shoulders automatically. You were very confident, you had the hand gestures, you showed the expressions really well, and you had a great content behind whatever you spoke about. Moving over to guest Razia Anam. You tried your best to look into the camera to speak to us, which is something commendable for, especially for someone who is new to this platform. And that is a beginning to repurposing your life, to the confidence that will help, that we can see now building up gradually as you come forward in the future as well. TM Hirishikesh, I'm sorry if I sounded wrong. You spoke really well. You had a story in your table topic. You went off with the flow. Your entire speech was well organized, great content. You had the hand gestures. You had the facial expressions. You had everything that grasped us, that kept us engrossed in your story and gave us a motivation that how you can, it's never too late to start something new. Moving over to TM Farhan Heather. Your speech was much organized. Your content was superb up to whatever the topic was, equally relevant with that. And you also proved to be a great motivation for all of us. Nevertheless, your background was a little dark, so we couldn't see your face that well. We wanted to witness more of your facial expressions and your gestures. So we could have the audio together with the video. Full combats to keep everybody engrossed and to bring in more color to the session, that the speech that you were giving. TM Azhar, it was really nice of you and confident of you that you leaped up to the topic, you spoke well, you were actually so confident in giving up your speech right there and then, although you took your time in the beginning, talking to the table topic master and to DTM Talha, but then in the end, it paid off really well. Then TM Mariam Aftab. I am so enthralled and so excited at hearing your speech. You were very confident. You started off with a confident stance, standing up, giving off the expressions, moving over your hands meaningfully. You started off really well. You had meaningful pauses. It surely didn't seem like that you were going off for the table topics. I felt that you were actually giving up a prepared speech. You were so well groomed and well prepared for your table topic. And that is something great, because table topic sessions are something that nobody is prepared for. And coming off with such confidence over, it's really commendable. It shows how good a Toastmaster is there inside you. And we can see that coming out day by day. One thing that you need to make sure is that try not to point fingers at the audience, because this is thought to be this is taken a little negatively in the audience. So whenever we want to address the audience, we use open hand gestures, spread out fingers like that, instead of pointing fingers out to them. Okay, you must all be thinking that there were no negatives in that. Well, there weren't any negatives, but something to improve. First thing, Most of you, except for TM, Mariam, Aftab, were sitting while giving off their speech. But trust me, when you stand up, initially the table topics, when you read that, when you go through the table topic, everything goes blank. And you think, okay, what I need to say about this, although after you're done with it, you are filled with ideas, you are overflowing with ideas, and you resent over the fact that, okay, I would have said this. But trust me, if you stand up, you give off open hands, you start off in a confident way, the ideas come in perfectly well. They fit in their places, and you seem to gain the confidence to speak one topic, one idea, or one point after another. And 3 minutes just go by, and you never know about that. Try this out, and I'm sure it will work out for you. Second thing, since most of you were standing, so I couldn't see, there were some people who were visible till their face. So even if they were giving their hand gestures, I couldn't see that. And when hand gestures are not there, then it gets a little, you need to be a little confident. You need to be a little motivating for others and encouraging for others. When you hide your hand gestures, that goes behind. So to embrace the confidence, you have to show yourself to your torso so that we can equally listen to your body language, listen to your facial expressions and everything to come up and be in your shoes. Overall, everybody of you spoke really well. All of you had the voice clarity. All of you, to some extent, has showed the facial expression, and you spoke really well, which is something really commendable. Thank you so much for such a great table topic session. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anand, for that wonderful evaluation. I believe everybody felt like they had delivered prepared speeches. The evaluation was that comprehensive. I would just like to add my 2 cents to this, and that is that yes, we prefer that people stand up while delivering speeches, but since there's an unfortunate trend around the world that most people are now sitting, especially in Europe and USA. So if you do sit, then maybe do something that utilizes your facial expression or voice modularity more, so that your sitting is justified. So I've observed that many people who sit and deliver, they come closer to camera, and there's more of a play on their facial expressions, because while sitting, they can showcase their facial expression more. Secondly, okay, now I will deliver my journal evaluation. So first of all, we started a little late, as pointed out by the timer, but I must admire the dexterity of the VP Education as well as the other role players for the juggling of the roles that happened seamlessly behind the scenes. My full respect to Toastmaster Navita Karan, who took on the role of Toastmaster of the Day and did a wonderful job with it. Also, again, major respect to Toastmaster Asghar, who is in admittedly difficult circumstances, and yet he delivered his speech from there. So that is the spirit of Karachi Toastmasters Club. And yes, we may exceed our timing quota every now and then, but I believe 20-25 minutes here and there are completely worth it compared to what we experience and learn in the process. Overall, what I'm also impressed with is the variety in the projects. There was an education session, and the projects were themselves very much varied. And that is also one of the hallmarks of Karachi Toastmasters Club, that we have a variety of projects on a variety of topics, and all the speakers are deserve commendation on that. The facilitators today played the roles exceptionally well, including the grammarian, including the accountant, including the listener. The evaluations were, quite frankly, absolutely fantastic. Perhaps our opening education session attracted a lot of attention from our evaluators, and it was showing.
So yeah, it's great to have an education session every now and then. Just one or two improvement areas. First of all, we need to monitor the timing during the meeting as well, and to continuously explore where we are versus where we should be. And perhaps that should be a joint venture between the timer and the Toastmaster of the day, so that we can, if things are getting delayed, we do not go with the flow and we bring things back in. Secondly, perhaps during the table topics master should explore whether it's absolutely necessary to share the screen with the table topic. Because previously, while we were having in-person meetings, the table topics were just verbally conveyed, very rarely. So just ask yourself whether it's absolutely necessary. Do you absolutely require to share the screen in order to convey your table topic, or maybe you can do without that? Again, I repeat that some topics necessarily require that. For example, if you want to show a picture and write comments, or if you want to give a sequence of words, yes, you have to share the screen, but perhaps not in every case. So hats off to all the members and guests of Karachi Toastmasters Club today. Each and every one of you delivered something special today, and I mean that. With that, I hand over the charge now back to our co-Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Aug'21.
Thank you, DTM Tala. Thank you for your role as General Evaluator. It was a wonderful role. I would like to switch over towards our president to announce the awards of today's meeting and say us goodbye. Over to you, DTM Tala.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Aug'. And yes, I have received, is our vote counter in the meeting? Yes, Toastmaster Ali Hassan Baba, would you like to announce the results, or are you leaving?
Yeah, actually leaving.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Big four votes. Big four votes.
Yeah, big four votes. The poll has been floated. Everyone, please vote for the big four while I announce the rest of the results. So first of all, best speaker of the day, perhaps quite predictably, it went to Toastmaster Rapchat, and I believe that is the first time I have witnessed that a speaker, without turning on her video, won the best speaker award. And again, absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. Best evaluator should send a thank you note and perhaps a gift to me. Because of course, no, Toastmaster Taha Hassan, because he went over by a few seconds. So yeah, so congratulations, Toastmaster Taha. Yeah, you went over time, but I believe your evaluation thoroughly deserves today's award. Congratulations on that. And then we come to our. Just give me a second. I've lost the. Yeah. Okay. Now we come to the best facilitator, and today's best facilitator is somebody who gives her special touch to everything she does. Toastmaster Jawan Khan as our grammarian. Congratulations. Okay, and then we have our. Just give me a second. This is updating quite. Yeah. So. Best table topic speaker goes to Toastmaster Rishikesh. Congratulations. You demonstrated that he came, he saw, and he conquered. So many congratulations. And best big four, the final one, goes to, let me see how many responses do we have. All right, so best big four, again, perhaps quite deservedly, goes to our two Toastmasters of the day, Toastmaster Asghar / Toastmaster Navita. Congratulations. But we have one more reward.
Thank you, Naventa. Thank you, Naventa, for the role.
Always welcome Toastmaster Asghar.
And it was very well adapt. Very well adapt.
Yes.
Thank you, Navita.
Exactly.
Thank you. You really explained the theme amazingly. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. And I believe that was thoroughly well deserved.
And we have the Critics' Choice Award, which is, for those who don't know, we appoint a secret critic to evaluate all the speeches according to the rules of the International Speech Contest ballot. The idea is to make every project interesting, and away from the evaluation sheet, let the speakers know that how their speeches scored as a speech that could perhaps be delivered on the contest stage. And perhaps to no one's surprise, today's winner is, in the eyes of critics, is Toastmaster Asghar once again. So Toastmaster Asghar, your blurred background and your delivery from, I believe, another place was completely worthwhile today, because you won the big prize. So with that, I will just ask Toastmaster Rishikesh and Toastmaster Razia, if you can briefly share your thoughts about the meeting today.
Thank you, DTM Talla. First of all, the meeting started with DTM Samir's presentation with how to evaluate the speeches. He gave us all the information which is required to become a best evaluator. Then over to Toastmaster of the day, Navnita. They both and Toastmaster Asghar, they both shared their responsibilities of being a Toastmaster of the day effectively. And after all the facilitators, I like to congratulate all the facilitators for their role playing. And I like the icebreaker speech by Toastmaster Rakshak. And overall, the meeting was very amazing, and it was a very great experience of attending the KTC meeting. So thank you for all the very good experience.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rishikesh, and thank you for delighting us with your table topics. So congratulations once again on that victory. And with that, I will ask Toastmaster, yes, Razia Anand. Razia, would you like to share your brief thoughts about the meeting? Okay, Toastmaster Razia is perhaps not here or not connected. Anyhow, this brings the meeting to an end. And I thank each and every one of you for making, once again, this meeting a success, and congratulate all the winners. Mr. VP Education, do we have any quick announcements for the forthcoming meetings?
Yes, there is one announcement that we will going to have 3 combined meetings, and you, all the members are requested to be, am I audible, right? Yes. Okay, so your request, we will be having 3 combined meetings, and I request all the members to be ready. It's on 21st, 29th, and 4th of September. So, and I request everyone to please, whenever the Google form shared with you guys, please fill the form, complete form. Not just write, yes, I want to deliver the speech. I request you to please put some project details as well, so that we can easily make agendas, not to follow up, make follow-ups to ask the project details. So that's all.
Thank you so much, VP Education. And yes, if you look at the form and if you scroll down, you will see there are slots for project description. So please, if you note down the project description, at least note down the project title and pathway and level. That will make it quite easy for the VP Education to compile the agenda. And I will also request VP Education to float the link again and again, not just once, because sometimes some people may miss it and they may not be able to avail it. Okay. So with that, I once again thank each and every one of you. Looking forward to see you next week and in our combined meetings. And have a blessed night, everyone. Thank you so much.